Let's make some noise. Come on.
Yes, indeedy, Nick Foles. Let's make some noise. Welcome back, everybody, to the final word with MattyB here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network on this glorious Tuesday, the final day of September 2025. And it's great to be back in the seat. I unexpectedly did not go on the air last night. I was sick yesterday. I was sick as a dog yesterday. I don't know what happened, what I had, but when I woke up yesterday, it was not pleasant and pretty much on my back the entire day. So the decision was an easy one to make, not to go on the air. I do apologize for the last minute notice, but it happens in life, and sometimes you just got to deal with it. But I'm feeling remarkably better tonight as whatever I have. I mean, I still have it, but obviously, it's running its course. But transitional colds, it was nothing more than a really bad cold, but transitional colds in general suck. I hate them. Something hit me hard. It hit me hard, quick, fast, and in a hurry. My stepson also had it too. So not a good 24 hours here as we've been both dealing with this. But I'm back tonight, and unfortunately, I'm back here to report that this is it. I'm sorry, man. This is the final episode of the final word for the week. I will not be back until actually probably not until Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. I ain't kidding, man. And matter of fact, I might not even be back tomorrow, a week from tomorrow, because of post-game obligations for the Phillies. So I honestly can't tell you when the next time, maybe a week from Thursday, will be the next final word. So I got to hit the road tomorrow. Got to go out of town for a little business trip. I'm going to be gone until Tuesday. Tuesday. I'll be back Tuesday night, but I'm not going to, after driving all day, not going to want to do a show. So this is it, man. This is the final word for over a week. Matter of fact, I think the next day back on the air for me is around our birthday, maybe October 7th. So I might even miss that. Life deals you a hand sometimes. You got to roll with it. So I'm going to make this one count because, as I said, this is going to be my final word for a while. The Birds Blast with Kyle Quinn will be seen on Thursday, but at 5. We're going to switch the time down to 5 o'clock, so we'll be going live at 5 on Thursday. But this will be the final word until probably next Thursday. Unfortunately. So I apologize for any inconvenience that might present to you, but life calls and sometimes you got to answer. So we're going to make it a good one though tonight. We're going to go out with a bang because we got baseball playoffs. We got baseball news. We got Eagles to talk about. We did the 25-26 Flyers preview earlier tonight on the network. So if you're interested in talking some Flyers, we can continue that conversation, but it'll be primarily tonight on baseball because we're going to talk Phillies, we're going to talk the playoffs, and we're going to talk about some managers getting their walk-in papers today. A couple of them, a couple notables actually got fired today by their teams, and we'll discuss that. We got our Philadelphia Day in Philadelphia sports history and our card review. All those great things. Try to wrap it into one final episode until we talk again next week at some point. So let's get it going. But before we do, let me remind you that this is what's happening on the network this week for the rest of the week. Kind of update this for you. There will be no final word tomorrow. We will have the props, locks, and parlays, the Pittsburgh sports decks, but no final word tomorrow. Thursday, the Birds Blast will be seen at 5 o'clock. The Gridiron Weekly attacking third will be seen at their normal times, and no final word on Thursday. The wraparound on Friday, and then the Happy Valley Huddle and Phillies postgame Titans final against whoever they play will be seen in its entirety. So the final word for the rest of this week and into next week, as I will not be back until probably Thursday night, a week from Thursday, were the final word. So again, I do apologize. I apologize for any inconvenience this might be presenting to you. Freddie Burns checks in, man. We got to talk, dude. It's been long enough, man. We got to talk. We got some business to discuss, Fred. You've been on the sidelines long enough. I'm scared of the Dodgers already. They are due to beat us in a series too. They most definitely are due. I mean, the Phillies have had their playoff numbers since the 80s. And the Dodgers do present probably the most formidable all-around opponent. The Reds pitching staff is nothing to shake a stick at, even though right now the Dodgers are putting it to the Reds a little bit. Hunter Green struggled a little bit in the bright lights and big cityness of his hometown, Los Angeles. But when you're dealing with a lineup that can come at you in so many different ways with Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Muncy, Pagas, I mean, there's just a wave after wave after wave. And obviously the Ohtani factor when you got this guy who can pitch, I mean, he'll pitch he'll pitch one game, come right back and DH the next. It is definitely the more formidable foe, and the fact that they're the defending world champions. But Fred, I'm not going to sit here. You mentioned the word scared. Scared. I'm not scared of anybody. Nobody. Concerned maybe, but I'm not scared of anybody. And if we have to play the Dodgers, so be it. It's just another team on the way to fulfilling our destiny, which I don't even know we're going to get that far. But we'll get into the Phillies a little bit later on. Actually, quite like in about 2 minutes. I texted you about the Flowers draft and got Crickets instead. I don't remember that. I remember you texting me, Freddie. We got to talk for real, man. And you told me you would. About a year ago when we talked, and you know what I'm talking about. You said give you some time. It's been about a year. We got to talk, and it involves a orange round ball and a net. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I want you to do. Okay? We'll talk. Your boy's coming back in. It's time for you. The It's a Wrap Sports Network will be a year old on October 7th. You've had a year to watch us. You see what we're all about. Get off the sideline. It's time to play. Anyway. No, we'll talk, Freddie. I do want to talk. Let's get it going here on the network. Let's strap in, strap on, strap up. Let's get it going. Keep your head, hands, and feet inside the car at all times. And here we are, our night in Philadelphia sports history. We got a plethora, a literal cornucopia of events to go over. And I didn't know really where to start. So I'm going to go with 3 of them. Going 3. Busy night on September 30th in Philadelphia sports history. The first one, 1964. Now, thank God. I mean, I'm jaded as it is when it comes to all the Philadelphia sports teams. But if I was alive to witness this, there'd probably be no living with me. But in 64, this was the infamous fold, right? The PHOLD. On this date in 1964, the Phillies dropped their 10th straight game. An 8-5 loss to the St. Louis Cardinals to set up the most colossal collapse in not Phillies history, no, Major League Baseball history. The Phillies would win the following 2 games. So they lost 10, won the next 2, but it was not enough because the Cardinals held on to take the pennant by a game over the Phillies in 64. It was the first team in history to blow a 6.5 game lead with 12 games to play. The Phillies of all teams were the perennial woeful Phillies found new ways to break Philadelphia fans' bleeding hearts. Philadelphia author Joe Queenan put the feeling into words in 1996. This was the pivotal event of my life. I quote, by the way. Nothing good has ever happened to me since then. They can make up for the disappointment of that ruined season. And nothing bad has happened since then that can even vaguely compare with the emotional devastation wrought by that monstrous collapse. A man by my own heart. I've heard stories of the infamous 64 collapse from older people, my father's age and beyond. And they used to regale us with those stories back when we were kids. And again, I've had enough of my own Phillies heartbreak. I don't know if I could handle what happened in 1964. But on this day, in 1964, the Phillies had lost their 10th straight game. With 2 left to play, had fallen out of first place, had blown a 6.5 game lead with 12 games remaining, and then the Cardinals would go on and win the division, or win the pennant, actually. Point number 2. In 2007, not only had the Phillies failed to win a World Series since 1980, but they also hadn't even sniffed the postseason in 14 years before they finally clinched the NL East via a 6-1 win over the Nationals on the final day of the season in 07. The game was doubly sweet as the Phillies win, coupled with the Mets loss, knocked New York from playoff competition and rid the Phillies of the pesky distinction that had stuck with them since 1964. Major League Baseball had a new goat to pick on. The 64 Phillies collapse was suddenly a fading memory as the Mets became the first Major League team to blow a 7-game lead with 17 games remaining. The young Phillies squad was establishing the building blocks of a world championship squad, and the Mets were going down in flames. The stars were aligning in Philadelphia again. So after the Phillies set that dubious mark in 64 by blowing a 6.5-game lead with 12 remaining, the Mets would one-up the Phillies in 07 by blowing their 7.5-game lead with 17 games remaining. I don't know. I get the 17 thing, but 6.5, you're up by 6.5 games and you only have 12 remaining in the season and you blow your division lead. That's bad. I know up by 7 with 17 games remaining, and that was in a magical time. That September of 07 was great, but I guess it's as close as you can get to feeling as the 64 Phillies did. Now, the third point of our day in Philadelphia sports history occurred a couple hours after the Phillies beat the Nationals, clinching the NL East in 07. Trey Thomas of the Philadelphia Eagles, his injury in the game they were playing that day against the New York Giants would help dubiously define the career of backup left tackle Winston Justice. You guys remember this day? It was a cornucopia of stuff going on this day in Philly sports history. As the Eagles squared off against the division foe, the Giants, on Sunday Night Football, by the final whistle, Justice had allowed 6 sacks, all to the Giants defense and O.C. Umanari. In a 16-3 win, the Giants tied a league record, sacking Eagles quarterback Donovan McNabb 12 times. So in 64, you got the 64 collapse or the fold. In 07, you got the miracle comeback against the Mets, taking the NL East after trailing the Mets 7 games with 17 remaining. And then later on that same day in 07, you got Winston Justice giving up 6 sacks to UC. You guys know who I'm talking about. I never could say this guy's name. UO, to go along with a total of 12 times that Donovan McNabb was sacked on this day back in 07. So there you go. Your moments in Philadelphia sports history on September 30th throughout the course of Philly history. Just amazing day. And as we sit here on this day in 2025, a quiet day in Philadelphia sports, nothing really going on of mention live, but we'll talk about some of the things happening around us and how they might affect us to come here in the next few days. Joe says, great Flyers. Thank you, Joe. I appreciate it. Me and Pat did some, because it was kind of put together at the last minute as I've been for some reason not able to, I don't know, figure out that I really probably need to walk around with a calendar because I'm starting to lose track of days. And I realized that with my travels tomorrow that I'm not going to have a chance probably with the playoffs and everything else to do a Flyers preview show until before the season starts. And unlike how we kind of kept putting off the Flyers review show at the end of the season, I didn't want to have to do a preview show 20 games into the actual season. So I figured I could squeeze one in today. Pat and Mike were able to do it. Mike ended up getting delayed. But we were able to knock it out. So, yeah, I thought it was a good show, too. I think it really kind of paints a correct picture of what the Flyers and what the expectations are for this team. And, of course, Flyers talk will become more and more prevalent as we move through on this program throughout the season. Bad offense for the Eagles. And Star Wars coming right off the top rope. Why, Star Wars? I want to ask you this question. Why is it a bad offense? Because the excuse-o-matic, or I shouldn't say excuse-o-matic, I hate to do this to him because he's not actually, I haven't heard him making excuses, but I am opening up the Emporium tonight. Big Al's Excuse Emporium is open for business because I want to hear why the Eagle offense is struggling. I've heard a lot of stuff today in reference to the struggles of the Eagles offense. Everything from the injury situation, that the offensive line is too hurt, that they're not playing as well as they should be because of injury. I have also heard that the struggles of the Eagles offense has something to do with obviously the shenanigans of A.J. Brown, which I don't know if you were listening or paying attention. I brought the A.J. Brown stuff up about 2 weeks ago. I said that if things continued down this path, it wasn't going to be long before A.J. Brown started doing his version of sit-ups in the driveway. And now with the cryptic text that he's sending, it seems to be breaking the cracks in the foundation are already starting to appear. At least in 2023, it didn't go down until about week 13. We're in week 4, and we're already starting to talk about A.J. Brown's drama. Tell me again how this locker room is so tight. Tell me again how they don't allow drama to enter into the lie. Again, please tell me. Well, somebody tell me, because that's what everyone for years has said. So I heard injuries. I heard A.J. Brown. Of course, I heard the obligatory Kevin Badula situation. I heard that. That's still a big one. But I haven't heard the excuse given to Jalen Hurts yet. I mean, I haven't heard anything about Jalen Hurts. It's like out of sight, out of mind. People are trying to maybe purposely not talk about the performance of their, and I'm doing the air quote thing because the excuse emporium is open, doing the air quote elite quarterback. But no one seems to be pointing any fingers in his direction. I hear he's struggling. Yeah, okay, he's struggling. But then they get right off that point. They pivot right away once they admit to the obvious. So no excuses given to Jalen Hurts. No nothing given to Jalen Hurts. Like he's not even part of the equation. Like he doesn't exist on the field, which by his play is correct. So Star Wars, when you say bad offense, I need you to expand on that. I need you to tell me what exactly you mean is bad. Tell me. I want to know. Because maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's me. Maybe I've missed something. Winston Justice, a bust. A huge bust. Huge. A little mad about A.J. Brown. Cave-in. Can I open the phone lines? I don't know, Joe. We'll see. You're a little mad about A.J. Brown. What are you mad about, Star Wars? I want to know. Tell me. What are you mad about? Are you mad about his complaining? Are you mad about his me first attitude that's being masked around this? What did they say about winning the Super Bowl? I don't really feel vindicated by winning the Super Bowl. I feel vindicated about being the best. Well, doesn't that kind of contradict the whole? This locker room's tight and everybody's copacetic down there at One NovaCare Way. There's none of that. There's no egos. There's no personalities in that locker room. Haven't I heard that like consistently being said about the Eagles for the last 3 seasons? Now all of a sudden, or I shouldn't say all of a sudden, A.J. Brown does this every year. It's getting earlier and earlier every year, though. Now we're talking about A.J. Brown not happy about his workload or about his yield. Again, what is it? Are they together or are they separate? And to be honest with you, why are you mad? I mean, listen, I got to give AJ a little leeway on this. I kind of agree with him. He's being paid a lot of money to do what he does, and he's not getting the ball, and he deserves to get the ball. He's one of the best at it in the league. Why isn't he getting the football? And are we going to default back to the injuries on the offensive line? Are we going to default back to Kevin Padula and maybe not calling his number? Are we going to default to the quarterback not being able to get the ball to him? I mean, that doesn't seem to be that doesn't seem to be on the table. Nothing about Jalen Hurts' performance over the last 4 weeks seems to be on the table for criticism. Why? And to Jalen Hurts' defense, I'll tell you why. Because they don't put him in a position to be criticized. Right? Jalen Hurts doesn't put the ball in a position to be criticized whether or not the ball was completed, incompleted, or intercepted. Because they don't call those plays for him. Why? Why, oh, why, oh, why? Why are they putting the training wheels, handcuffs, safety net, insert your appropriate adjective here on the quarterback. He's elite, remember? Isn't that what you homers told me before? Jalen Hurts is elite, top 2-3 quarterback in the world. So why is his number one wide receiver pissed off? Because he's not getting the ball. I don't remember Randy Moss ever being mad at Tom Brady. I don't remember Jerry Rice ever being mad at Joe Montana or Steve Young. I don't remember Mark Clayton or Mark Duper getting mad at Dan Marino. No, I don't remember Tyreek Hill getting mad at Pat Mahomes when they were playing together. No, Devontae Adams never got pissed off at Aaron Rodgers. No. Why is the number one quarterback mad why is the number one wide receiver mad at everybody? Why? And whose fault is it? Is it AJ's? Is it Kevin Padula's, Nick Sirianni's, Jalen Hurts, the offensive line, Jeff Stoutland, Fat Dom? I mean, whose fault is it? And are things not hunky-dory in Eagle Land? Is the 4-0 start? You know, again, what is the excuse that I've heard? Yep, I've heard it. Like it was 2023 all over again. Win is a win is a win. Doesn't matter how it looks. At the end of the day, all that matters is the dub. Okay, then who cares what AJ Brown is saying? Who gives a damn? Right? Why is there so much criticism towards the offense? If they're winning games at the end of the day, accept it and roll with it. Why? Why is everybody so up in arms? I'm going to tell you why they're up in arms, because they've been down this goddamn road before, and quite recently. This has got 2023 written all over it. Now, again, in the context of that statement, I'm not saying it's going to happen verbatim like it went down in 2023. I know it's different players for the most part. The offense is the same, but I get that. Different type of season, coming off different expectation levels. I get all that. But the aura, the pinkish hue of this season has a lot to do with 2023. And I think people that are trying to deflect the 2023 comparisons were probably the most scared out of everybody, because they see it clearer than anybody else does. Now, will the Eagles pull themselves out of this and start winning games more appropriate and fitting the defending Super Bowl champions and a team that's on the cusp of creating their own dynasty? Yeah, probably, or maybe not. They got 13 more games to figure it out. But when it's all written and said and done, and if things do spiral and we do go down a similar path that we did in 2023, then what? Do we roll the same offense back? Does Kevin Padula get marched up to Calvary Hill and hung up on his cross because he's the reason that they lost yet again? Or is there the proper attention placed on the proper players on the offense begin to actually happen? Is the proper criticism given to the quarterback that is deserving to be given to that quarterback? Or do we, again, keep scapegoating the goddamn offensive coordinator? So I agree with you. I don't think you should be mad at AJ Brown. No, I think you should be mad at Jalen Hurts, or mad at the Eagles for how they handle Jalen Hurts. Caving in? Can I open the phone lines? Maybe. Did we already talk about this in his attitude? What's his attitude, though, Star Wars? He wants to be the best. You should laud that attitude. You should pat him on the back and say, AJ, you want to be number one. I can dig that. You want to be the man. You want to be the jolt of wide receivers. And you can't be the jolt of wide receivers if the football don't get thrown to you. I understand that. And if you thought out there, Star Wars, and again, I'm not insulting your intelligence, because you're a loyal fan to this network, and I appreciate you. But did you really think that inside those doors that everybody was holding hands and singing songs together? No, man. I guarantee you half the team hates each other. To include the quarterback, wide receiver, and head coach. But it doesn't matter. Every Sunday, Thursday, Monday, whatever, they hop on the field for 90 minutes, 60 minutes, and they do battle together for a common goal. Either to win a Super Bowl, or make a lot of money. So they put all their differences aside for that time. And that's how life is, unfortunately. We all can't be best friends at all times. Personalities sort of conflict. So just as long as they get it done on Sunday, it really shouldn't matter, what the relationship is outside the what attitudes you have outside the locker room, because you don't know who these people are in real life. You know the persona of number 11, number 1, 26, 64, whatever. You don't know them personally. You don't know what kind of people these people are. They're doing their job on Sunday, just like you do. You clock in, you go to work, you clock out, you go home, and you live your life. Same thing. But here in this town, we want to romanticize it all. We want to believe that our players are somehow like connected at the hip, and that everything is great, and they're best friends, and all the nonsense you heard about. Oh, this is the most together locker room I've ever seen. What are you gauging that on? No one's been in that locker room ever. How can you say that? You've never been in there. You don't know these people personally. But we want to believe that because it fits in the narrative of loving our team. So A.J. Brown, yes, he's up to his old antics. Again, I called it like 2 weeks ago. I didn't necessarily think it was going to happen week 4, but I knew at some point he would get a little whiny about not getting the ball. But the Eagles are 4-0, getting ready for a pivotal game against the Broncos on Sunday. Do you put all that aside and just wish for the best? Thoughts on what the babbling? Joe, I saw that, and I get it, but what can he say at this point? He's got to say those things. He's got to get ready for this. The last thing he needs to be is a distraction to the team. The last thing he needs is provide anybody bulletin board material of any sort. Matter of fact, I don't know why he's talking in the first place. GMs, presidents of whatever, their time is after the season and the entire offseason. Wait until then. And then you can word salad all you want. But right now, just close your mouth. Social media, they should not be on. Now, they're grown men, Star Wars. Why can't they be on social media? I'm on social media. I don't post my life on social media, but I look at it. I love it. This might come as a surprise. I get negative comments on social media. Oh, yeah. I know. MattyB say it ain't so. Yeah, I do. But I'm a grown-ass man. Do I really care what these people say? No, of course I don't. Everyone's entitled to that opinion. Who cares what they say? Be the bigger man. Don't respond. Just take it and walk away from it. I mean, I don't know what you're fishing here for. A.J. Brown is sort of like acting immature by letting that stuff get to him. Who cares? Who cares? I don't. Do you think I care what people say about me negatively? And again, I know it's coming to a shock to a lot of people that there's people out there that don't like me. I know, man. I'm breaking some news tonight. But I'm not going to let that affect me. No. Matter of fact, I do it quite reverse. If you've given me the enough time to make a comment about me, that means I've somehow resonated somewhere in your mind. You can deny it all you want, but if you didn't care to respond back to me, that means you wouldn't. But I said something that got to you. Positively, negatively, whatever. But I got to you. So I won. So whatever. And then in this business, you want people to notice you. So, but yeah. Even Cooper DeJean Reed Blankenship podcast. No, who says they're grown men? They can do what they want. They're not mandated to do any of it. They can do what they want. They're grown ass man over the age of 18. Let them do what they want. It's America, God damn it, man. Ricky says he's watching. I know you always are, Ricky, and I love you. I noticed something on the MLB playoffs. Phillies face the Cubs Padres winner. No, they do not. It is the Dodgers Padres. No, it's Dodgers Padres. It's the Dodgers Reds. Stop doing this, man. It's the Dodgers Reds. The block punt was nice. It was very nice on Sunday. The block punt, the block field goal the week before that. Next week, Joe Hale says, I guess it's time to start returning kicks. Or was that you? Someone said this last night or the other night. Now they got to start returning kickoffs and punts. You know, that's got to be the special teams play. But 4-0, and I'm not going to have another shot at this until I talk to Kyle on Thursday because I'm not going to be back on this show. And I won't have an opportunity to comment on next week's game until like middle of the probably the night of the Giants game because they play on Thursday next week. So I'm going to lose out on some time to get my 5 cents in. But, you know, this is an interesting game for the Eagles on Sunday. Very interesting game. The Denver Broncos got no business winning this football game. They truly don't. On paper, the Eagles are superior. But the Broncos are going to play with that little extra edge. I don't care about them flying across the country, whatever. They're going to play with an extra edge because they're going to see this as an opportunity to show the NFL that they're real and that they're relevant again. And what better way to do that than go into Philadelphia and beat the defending champs? So, again, I don't think the Broncos win this game, but I know they're preparing like it's their Super Bowl, and they're going to play it like it's their Super Bowl. And can the Eagles afford yet another clunker on offense and then pray to God they get a turnover or some sort of special teams play to save the day? So we'll see. And as we go deeper into this season, you know, those games, those types of games, winning games like that, they're going to get harder and harder to achieve because luck tends to run out, as it did in 2023. And Kyle Quinn made up a point when I said to him last week that this has got 2023 smacking all over it. He said, no, the defense is a totally different defense. Yes, it is. But it's also a gassed defense. How much time they're on the field? I don't know how they won that game against Tampa. I blame Tampa more than I credit the Eagles for that game Sunday because there's no way. The Eagle defense was out of gas by about the 6-minute mark of the fourth quarter. And Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneer offense could not take advantage of it for some odd reason. Yeah, because they're just not that good. But more and more time on the field, and then the injuries are starting to mount up on defense. It's going to take their toll. The defense can't keep playing like this much football. It's going to take their toll. It's taking their toll on them right now. So the offense has got to figure it out. Come hell or high water, the offense has got to figure it out. Or this season's going to unravel much like 2023. Get mad at me all you want, but that's basically, you know, that's history teaching me a lesson. What do they say when you're kids? Either you learn from history or you're doomed to repeat it. Well, let's see how the Eagles do with that. Are the phone lines open tonight? I don't know. I don't think so, Ricky. I got a lot doing tonight. I'll see. Let's put a fork in that one. Wow, Dodgers are starting to blow out the damn Reds. Jalen Carter needs to grow up still. Jalen Carter needs to grow up. Quinyon Mitchell needs to stop holding. That's another thing that's going to come back and bite them on the ass. How many times did Quinyon Mitchell not get called for holding on Sunday? And it's not because he's this master of holding until it becomes illegal. He's going to get caught eventually, and then it's going to start coming in droves. And it's going to probably happen the most inopportune time throughout the game. But Quinyon Mitchell better be careful, man. He is flagrantly holding. And so bad with that. I mean, him and the others. You know how many grass jerseys I saw not get called against the Eagles? And I don't want to hear any more stuff about the refs, especially when Eagles fans, a certain side of the Eagle fan base, you know who they are, want to blame the refs for the Eagles' struggles. Well, they're not looking at the other side. There was probably 7 penalties that were not called against the Eagles on Sunday that should have been. At least 7. 3 of them were on Quinyon for holding. And then the other one was on the other. Ringo got away with a hold. And I think it was all secondary holding penalties that were not called. And bad ones too. So I don't want to hear about that nonsense anymore. And that's eventually going to get them caught up. So do we get Matty B live from Bama? You will for the Birds Blast. The Birds Blast, I will be in Birmingham, Alabama. I said Binghamton. Birmingham, Alabama. I'll do the Birds Blast. But that is the last show that I will do until next week, until I come home. So yeah, you'll get one show, and it'll be the Birds Blast with Kyle Kuhn. I'll do it from my hotel room. Got to give the people what they need there, Joe Hale. But yeah, that's the plan right now. There will be no final word next for the rest of the week and into next week. So anyway, Star Wars is mad at AJ Brown. I'm mad at the offense. But no one's talking about 4-0. Is anybody happy about that? And why aren't we happy about that? 4-0 is 4-0. The Eagles survived the hardest part of their schedule. Hardest part of their season, meaning the startup, right? Where it could have dug them a hole, especially without using players in the preseason, but they survived it the best possible way, undefeated. And now they got a spot in their schedule where it's relatively lighter. There's some interesting games to be played, but all the opponents the Eagles have for the month of October are winnable games, and they should win. Will they win them all? I don't know. Interesting test on Sunday against the Denver Broncos. So Eagles drama continues. The injuries are the excuse now. A.J. Brown's attitude is becoming the excuse. Kevin Abdullah, of course, is your fallback excuse for everything. But no excuses or no blame being pointed at the quarterback. Even Saquon Barkley's getting some shade thrown at him for not having a good start to his season. Now people are starting to be like, oh, man, did we run the tread off of Saquon? Is he done? I don't know, man. But yet no criticism gets turned to Jalen Hurts. Interesting how that is. A man who threw for 130 yards. A man who orchestrated an Eagle offense that accumulated a total of -2 net yards in the second half of that game on Sunday. Gets no criticism. Very interesting. Very interesting. So we'll see what the Eagles do for the rest of the week. They'll back at it tomorrow as they'll start practicing for the Broncos. And then we'll get more deeper into the Broncos. And me and Kyle will break the Broncos down in depth, or break the Broncos game down in depth for you on Thursday at 5 p.m. That's Thursday at 5. Not 7. We're going to switch the times because we have I'll be doing something by 7. So there's your schedule right here. Tomorrow is Locks, Props, and Parlays, the Pittsburgh Sports Desk, and no final word with MattyB. There will not be a show tomorrow night. On Thursday, the Birds Blast will be at 5. The Gridiron Weekly will be at 8. The Attacking Third at 9, and no final word on Thursday. On Friday, you got the wraparound, and then post-game activities on Saturday, both Penn State, UCLA, and the Phillies against the who are they? Either the Reds, Dodgers, and to go with Joe Hale, it's either the Reds, Dodgers, Padres, or Cubs. Whoever it is, they'll be getting ready for them. But there you go. So let's talk some Phillies because I owe you a breakdown of the Phillies. We discussed the defense the other night. I wanted to spread this thing out a little bit more because I don't want to have to give it to you all at once, but I'm not going to be back before game 1, so I got to give it to you now. So we're going to talk offense and defense tonight. Offense and pitching. We went through the defense the other night. I think we're a remarkably improved defense. I think one of the better defenses the Phillies have had in this era. They're not really that bad anymore. Yeah, Trey Turner and Alec Boehm, but Boehm's errors are really far in between. Now that I say that, let me punch on something wood there. Yeah, now that I say that, he's probably going to be kicking balls around the infield. But and Trey Turner is always sort of like there to spring at an error here and there. But for the most part, I can live with this Phillies defense more than I've been able to live with any of the other Phillies defenses. So I think they go into the playoffs in a pretty good defensive situation. Now let's talk about near and dear to my heart, man, offense. This is what, and we've been watching this today. If you guys have not seen the games happening around, the Tigers, Guardians, Padres, Cubs, and now the Dodgers and Reds have been playing. And the first 3 games, the first 2 games today, the afternoon games, the Cubs and the Padres and the Guardians and the Tigers. Very small ball games. I'm watching cleanup hitters throwing down sack bunts in the Padres game. I'm watching the players that have no business sack bunting throwing down sacrifice bunts. I'm watching sacrifice flies. I'm watching pulling balls to move runners over. I was really very happy to see that because this is now the playoffs and you can't win or live by the home run. And of course, I'm watching Scooble masterclass the hell out of the Guardians earlier today. Talk about showing the Guardians, thank you for stealing the division away from us. I mean, that guy was just amazing today. But don't count the Tigers out. They're not done yet. They absolutely aren't. They're actually my pick to come out of the American League. But offensively, the playoffs are a different animal. Now tonight, the Dodgers are just going off right now. It's 6-0 right now, and they're all over the Reds. But what is the Phillies offense for the playoffs, and what do you think, honestly? What are we going to get when we're going to be hanging on every pitch? We're going to be hanging on every at bat. We're going to be uberly. You guys are going to turn into me for the playoffs, right? You're going to be tracking the RISP. You're going to be tracking the runners left on base. You're going to be tracking the strikeouts. You're going to be tracking all that stuff. And not only are you going to be tracking it, you're going to let it like seep into your soul and have it burn you like it burns me every night through 162 games. You're going to feel what it's like to be me for the playoffs, because this is what I endure every day in every game, right? I cringe at these numbers on a daily basis. And now when it matters the most, we're going to look at this offense, and some of these numbers are going to scare you, man. Some of these numbers in the regular season are going to just put this fear of God into you. But let's get into it. Let's start talking about the Phillies' strength, though, because they got a strength, and that's the home run ball. Absolutely. The home run ball is the Phillies' strength. 83 home runs the Phillies hit through the first 81 games of the season. Bad. Just they weren't getting any power. They weren't getting anything at all. They gave up 87 home runs. But in the second half, a complete reversal. 128 second half home runs by this baseball team for a grand total of 211 homers, which was nowhere, I think it's like fourth in Major League Baseball. But they were averaging about a home run and a half in the second half, which, of course, you can't hit half a home run. So using the rule of 5, let's go up to 2. I mean, they're averaging 2 home runs a game. That's awesome. But it's a false stat. It's false hope. You cannot rely on hitting 2 home runs a game in the playoffs. You just can't rely on that. You can't go into the playoffs with that mentality that we'll be okay as long as we get the power, because we've seen how that has affected the Phillies adversely in the past. And when you're dealing with primarily the same DNA of this team than the other teams, you can't fall into that trap of we're just going to swing for the fences and be okay with it. I said earlier in the year that I had resigned myself to acknowledge the Phillies as a power home run or nothing team. I still have that feeling. And that's what scares me about the playoffs. Because as I said, today I'm watching cleanup hitters drop in sacrifice bunts down to move runners from first to second base. Would ever there be a situation that Rob Thompson would ask Kyle Schwarber to lay down a sacrifice bunt? Would there ever be a situation and Bryce Harper would be asked to lay down a sacrifice bunt and actually do it correctly? Probably the bigger question. And I think the answer is no, because that's not what we do. And I think you need to do that in the playoffs more than anything else. And as I said earlier today, it's my heart warm to see that, man. I was enjoying that. I was digging that. I was digging it. Phillies going nowhere. All right, Star Wars, let's wrap it up and go home. If you made the lineup, where would you bat Bader? I'm not batting Bader. Turner leading off. You want to press my all-star lineup? My postseason lineup, there it is. Turner leading off. Bohm batting second. Harper batting third. Schwarber batting fourth. JT fifth. Marsh sixth. Kepler 7th, Stott 8, Bader 9. That's my lineup. That's my lineup. You heard it here first. I'm batting Bader at 9. There won't be hitting. I don't know. You think so? Where the hell you been? Barbara. Fall off the face of the earth? Come on back. Matty, looks like we're playing the Dodgers. Yeah. Well, based on this game, it does. Guardians and Reds aren't good teams. They shouldn't be in the playoffs. I disagree. I think they're really good teams. And they deserve to be there. They fought their way in. Snell won't be able to pitch until game 3, but Ohtani will be able to pitch in game 1. Bryce Harper, 75 RBIs is pretty bad. It's terrible. Bryce Harper's disappeared. We'll get into Bryce Harper in a second. I noticed the playoffs so far, the pitchers are calling the game. The pitchers are calling the game? I don't know what that means. We're getting beat by the Dodgers. And I guess you're commenting on the fact that the Reds are getting whooped up back there. Yeah, they are getting, it's not a good night. I did get a haircut. Thank you, Barbara. You got a haircut today. So what is it? 128 second half home runs, 83 first half home runs, 211 total home runs by this home run or nothing team. I think the Yankees hit like 270 home runs this year. It's crazy. All right, let's talk hits. The Phillies as hitting. The Phillies had 697 first half hits. So the first 81 games, Phillies banged out 697 hits. Averages about 8.6 hits a game. I mean, I can live with that. That's really good. In the second half, they banged out 718 hits. So they actually raised that total up. So they were averaging close to 9 hits a game. 9 hits a game. That's amazing. For the season, they banged out 1,412 hits. So for 8.7 hits a game, 218 home runs, 1,412 hits. Wow. Phillies must have won 130 games this year. Let's get into the negative. Runners in scoring position batting average. For the first half, the Phillies were 180 for 692. That's a modest but acceptable kind of 260 batting average. I can deal with that, man. I can live with that. 100%. 270 is more where I'd like a World Series champion to be at, but I can live with 260. Second half, the Phillies were 169 for 668 with runners in scoring position batting average. 252. And not to mention, they finished the season 0 for 20 with runners in scoring position in their final 4 games. They didn't get a runner in that was in scoring position for the final 4 games of the season. Chew on that one for a second. And that's the stat that keeps me awake at night. For the year, the Phillies were 349 for 1,360 for a 256 batting average. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. For a team that's got this type of power or this type of baseball personalities. It's unacceptable. That's where the 1,412 hits and the 213, whatever it was, home runs, that's where it gets counteracted by this RISP. The Phillies also, for the first half of this season, left 586 runners on base, just in general, on base, for 7.2 a game. In the second half, they left 561 on base, so it's better for about 7 a game. So they went from 7.2 to 6.9, so kind of stayed in the same ballpark. So they're averaging, let's call it 7 runners left on base. And for the season, 1,147 runners on base for an even 7. So they're leaving 7 runners a game on base. They're batting 256 with runners in scoring position. The Phillies as a team in the first half struck out 638 times for 7.8 strikeouts a game. So about 8. In the second half, they struck out 708 times, about 9. So they went up by a whole strikeout from the first half to the second half, averaging 9 strikeouts a game, being struck out 9 times. So if you do the math, in the second half of the season, the entire lineup, through one time around, struck out. So you were limiting yourself to what 6 innings of work of offense? Because it takes you about 3 innings to get through the lineup one time. For the season, the Phillies are averaging about 8.1 strikes. So they're averaging 8 strikeouts a game on the season. So here's where the hits and the home runs counteract against everything else. And here's the biggest stat of them all, runs per game. First half, the Phillies scored 353 runs in 81 games. First 81 games, they scored 353 runs, 4.5 runs a game. That's terrible. They were averaging 4.5 runs a game in the first half of the season. That went up considerably in the second half. They scored 422 runs for 5.2. So again, a little less than about a half. Let's call it a half. They went up a half a run. For the season, the Phillies scored 778 runs, 4.8 a game, less than 5. Or using the rule of 5, you want to go up to 5, that's fine. I can live with 5. But 4.8, 4.5, I can't live with that. So offensively, it comes down this way to me. And this is not new earth-shaking information. This is the same thing we've been watching since 2022. Every pitch will matter. Every at-bat will matter. And you people out there will start to know what it's like to live in my head. When they're leaving runners on second and third, they can't get anybody in with 1 out, runner on third. They leave them loaded. They strike out in key situations, get runners on first and second with nobody out, and don't get any runs, like strike out the side or something like that. That's when you'll start living in my reality. Try dealing with that over a course of 162 games that I had to do and have done for the last 4 years. Now you're going to understand why I keep track of the stuff I keep track of and why I'm so jaded as I am. So offense, it comes right down to me again. Are they willing to do the small things? Yeah, the small ball things. Are they willing to lay down the sacrifice bunt? Are they willing to drive to pull the ball when needed? Are they willing to take the sac fly? Are they willing to not swing for the fences even though their entire body is saying to do it? And if they can somehow reverse the course of the last 3 or 4 years and start doing those things. And this is the beautiful part about the playoffs. They're 0-0. First 1 to 11 wins. For the Phillies, at least. These teams got to win 13, but the first 1 to 11 for the Phillies wins. And they have time. They have time to reverse that. Does Rob Thompson do that? Does Rob Thompson start playing a more small ball game? Does Rob Thompson ride the hot hands? Does Nick Castellanos come off the bench? Does Bryce Harper return from wherever the hell he's been since 2022? And that's offensively the questions I have. And it's nothing new than the questions we've been talking and asking for the last 3 or 4 years. That's how I see offensively for this team. Star Wars says we're getting beat by the Dodgers. I already did this one. There's a button on the pitcher's belt that you hit and it says, okay, that'll work. Unless there's a thunderstorm and they get electrocuted out there. I know this isn't the Eagles show, but I'm getting teased on how bad our offense is. Barbara, we just spent about a good, 40 minutes talking about what is the blame for the Eagle offensive struggles? And the popular ones, and I didn't necessarily give you what was the blame because I have my own theory, and I think I've said it about a bazillion times. Actually, you haven't been around, so I will recount that. So what are the popular excuses now? The injuries on the offensive line. Of course, Kevin Padula is the fallback one, is the default one. The attitude of A.J. Brown. Saquon Barkley's got maybe no tread left on his tires. But there's no blame being held towards the quarterback. There's no criticisms towards the quarterback. And here's my assessment of it all, Barbara. And I need you to use your Eagles fandom here and go back in time with me. So since 2022, we've been on since 2021, right? Has there been a new coordinator here since 21? Yeah, we'll call it 22. But we've been going through offensive coordinators pretty rapidly over the last 3 or 4 seasons. Now, in 2023, the Eagles got off to that 11-1 start. Beautiful start that got us saying things around town like a win's a win's a win. Very reminiscent of how they're winning games now. And the scapegoat for that was Brian Johnson and the way he called plays and blah, 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 blah. Now, we all know how all 2023 went down. It went down in flames. Now, we started 2024 through the first 4 games, basically in the same offensive mode as we were in 2023. And what was the result? It was 2-2. They went back to the drawing board under Kellen Moore now, by the way. Brian Johnson's already been ran out of town at this point. They go back to the drawing board. They come back out with a run-heavy, run-first, run-always mentality. And Saquon Barkley almost rewrites the record books in a course of, less than a quarter of a season. Now, we start this season. New offensive coordinator. And Saquon Barkley does not get off to a good start. For whatever reason, teams have figured him out. He's got no tread left on the tires. There's injuries on the offensive line. Whatever the reasons are, Saquon has not been able to get into that next gear at all this season so far. So what is that? What has that created? It's created the offense to revert back to the passing offense. Now, how can we sit here and blame Kevin Padula for the same inept passing offense that Kellen Moore had to pivot away from, and that Brian Johnson got blamed for creating? How do we do that? How can you sit there with a straight face and do that? There's been new offensive coordinators. You know what the one constant's been? The offensive players, the Jalen Hurts, the offensive line, the A.J. Browns, the Devontae Smiths. Those guys have been here through the whole thing. Why is there not blame being pointed at them for not being able to execute the passing offense? We've gone through 3 different offensive coordinators, and it's the same thing. So maybe stop looking at the offensive coordinators and look more at the players. Why did we give up on the pass after 4 games last year? Because it wasn't working. It was the same results of what happened in 2023. Saquon Barkley goes off, rest is history. Saquon Barkley can't get out of the stable so far in 2025. You got to go back to a passing offense, and they're struggling. Why is this so hard for people to understand? It's not the offensive coordinator. It's the offensive players. Think about it. It's a more rational way to look at things. Now, again, it's not the more popular one because, you got the Jalen Hurts apostles out there running around now trying to get me arrested. So I'll see. I don't know. That's my take on it. That's why I think the Eagle offense is struggling. 8-0 Dodgers. Paul Skeens is a joy to watch. He's great. Yeah, but you're never going to see him in the playoffs. My friend was at the Phillies game on Sunday and said that they had a ceremony for Sanchez because he made it to 200 innings. How do you feel about that? Listen, Barbara, Sanchez had a great season. He had I'm not going to say Cy Young worthy season. He's not in the same category as Skeens and School and Wheeler. He's not there yet. He had a great year. He needs to do it a little bit more consistently, but he's not that kind of guy yet. But for the fact that the Phillies pitching staff went through so much in 2025 that Chris Sanchez was there from the beginning to the end and took the ball every 5th day for the most part. Yeah, whatever. Give it to him. I'm more concerned about Mick Abel getting the Philly Minor League Pitcher of the Year award given to him as a member of the Twins, and then he goes out and strikes out 8 and shuts out the Phillies. That's what I'm more concerned about. So I don't know. So when you come back from your trip, can we open? Yes, Joe. We'll open the phone lines next week, and it'll be part of the show every week. I'm not using the offensive coordinator as the excuse. Hurt looks the same as in college, and Barkley looks like he's 6 years on the Giants. Exactly. It's not hard. It's not, and it's okay to say it. I was in a barbershop today, as you can tell by my hair, and we were talking about the Eagles, and I had some people asking me, "But wait, what are we talking about? What do you mean it's Hurts in the offense? Look what they did in the playoffs. Look what they did in the Super Bowl." I'm like, yeah, well, okay, let's look at what they did in the playoffs. The Packers game, right? The Packers game was settled on a turnover late, right? The Eagle defense forced. The Rams game was settled on 2 turnovers, one from Stafford and one from Eckler in that game. The Commanders game was settled on 5 friggin' turnovers that the Commanders kept coughing up the football every 5 seconds, flipping the field for the offense. The Super Bowl, Pat Mahomes was sacked 6 times and gave up 3 turnovers, flipping the field. Jalen Hurts and the offensive success in 2024 was directly on the backs of the defense. And I don't, if you don't see that as a fan, regardless if you're a homer, a moderate, diehard, whatever you consider yourself, passerby, if you cannot see the importance of what the Eagle defense did in 2024, there's no sense in me talking to you. If you can't see that the defense set up the offense for Super Bowl success in 2024, I can't help you out. Now, they're doing it again in 2025. They're doing it again. Now, I don't know if they have the stamina to carry it all the way out through a course of one season, a whole season, but they are doing it again. And they are setting up the offense, but this time the offense is not cashing in. So, again, I don't know what to tell you, but I agree. It's time to look more at the players than at the coach. So, but yes, we will open the phone lines. Joe, get off my back about the damn phone lines. All right, so we went over the offensive pitcher. Let's do the pitching. Like, I wasn't going to do this tonight, but as I said, this is the final time that I will be here before the playoffs start. So let's go over the pitching real quick. Of course, the overview of the pitching is pretty simple. You know, you come into the season with Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Jesus Luzardo, Ranger Suarez, and I guess Taijuan Walker was your 5th starter, right? Who was the 5th guy back then? I don't even remember who it was. Who was our 5? Who was the opening day rotation? Because Suarez was on the mend, right? So you had Wheeler, Nola, Sanchez, or Wheeler, Nola, Luzardo, Sanchez. Who was 5? Was it Walker? Was your 5th coming out of spring training? Because Suarez was hurt. And then, of course, throughout the course of the season, we had Zach Wheeler putting in yet another Zach Wheeler-esque performance, and he goes down with the blood clot. Aaron Nola never got going at all this year. Suarez came back from the injured reserve, pitched up and down, kind of got it going a little bit, and pitched decently. I got to give it to him. Sanchez has been a pleasant surprise of domination, and even Taijuan Walker coming in spot starts has done well, enough to kind of give you some confidence in him. I think overall the pitching is far one of the least problems that the Phillies have to worry about. I really do. And I still think they have enough pitching, starting, and bullpen to win a World Series. So that's how I look at it. But anyway, let's go over the numbers. Phillies as a team struck out 738 batters in the first half of the season. That's over 9 a game. Man, striking out over 9 batters a game. I mean, the team is striking out over 9 times, and then they're striking people out over 9 times. Second half, 724 strikeouts. Phillies pitchers averaging about 9 strikeouts. So they're hovering around 9. They finished 9 strikeouts on the nose on the season on average, 1,459 strikeouts. Phillies pitching dealt to their opponents. On the other side of that, gave up 235 walks, less than 3 a game in the first half. Gave up even less than that in the second half, 202 walks by the staff, 2.4 walks a game. Again, using the rule of 5, let's round it back down to 2. So you're giving up 2 walks a game through an 81-game sample size? That's outstanding pitching. On the season, they gave up 433 walks for about 2.6. Again, let's use the rule of 5. We'll round it up to 3. I can live with 3 walks a game. That is not any issues. None. The Phillies did give up 676 hits, 8.3 a game in the first half, 754 hits in the second half. Over 9 hits a game the Phillies pitching were giving up in the second half. That's a little alarming because they were getting runners on base, but they were actually doing well with that. For the season, and the Phillies were actually out hit in the second half, 718 to 754. They were considerably out hit by their opponents in the second half of the season. They gave up 1,425 hits on the year for 8.7. The Phillies gave up. The Phillies left. Their opponents left 569 runners on base for 7 in the first half, 520 runners were left on base for 6.4, so way down, which is not good. They were getting better scoring runs against the Phillies in the second half. And for the season, 1,089 runners were left on base by Phillies pitching for about 6.7. Again, we'll use the rule 7 or rule 5, and we'll go up to 7. So I can live with that too. Phillies gave up 322 runs in the first half of the season. That's 4 runs a game. That is absolutely where you want to be, 100%. In the second half, they gave up 336 runs a game, 4.1. So again, we're hovering right around 4 runs a game. That's fine. The pitching is not the problem for me. These numbers I can live with, especially in a staff that's as depleted as they are right now without Wheeler. Nola struggles all season long. Suarez kind of up and down. Luzardo kind of up and down. I can live with those numbers. And these numbers there's a good bit of these numbers not including Zach Wheeler's contributions. So I can live with these numbers. I'm not concerned pitching-wise for this team. If there's a concern at all for me, it's the 8th inning. I don't know what they're going to do there. They activated today. I don't know if you guys saw this, or what did they do? They brought Romano and then Alvarado were brought back, reinstated from the DL, or IL, which I don't know why they got to do that. And neither one of them are making obviously the playoff roster. Alvarado can't. And if Jordan Romano finds his way onto the playoff roster, I'm going to lose my mind. Absolutely lose my mind. But the Phillies also recalled the following players from the minor leagues: Michael Mercado, Nolan Hoffman, Alan Ringel, Seth Johnson, Moises Chase, Gene Cabrera, Max Lazar, Rafael Lantigua, and Johan Rojas have all been recalled by the Phillies today. Now, what happens to them and what their positions are on the roster versus the taxi squad, we'll see. But Gene Cabrera, the AA pitcher, getting a shot, potentially pitching the postseason, man. That's what I'm talking about. Told you, man. Told you he was the real deal. But pitching to me is not the problem. I can live with what the Phillies are going to throw out there. Again, the 8th inning is a little concerning. I don't want to see David Robertson in the 8th inning. I don't want to see Matt Strahm in the 8th inning. I do not want to see Taiwan Walker in the 8th inning. I don't want to see those guys. I want to see Kirkering. Yes, I do. You got to keep putting him in there. You got to try to unlock or declog what's blocked there. And I know this maybe not the time of the year to be playing with that, but come on. He's got late inning stuff. Let him pitch in the late innings. But yes, it concerns me. It does. But that's about the only aspect of Phillies pitching that does bother me a little bit is what are you doing in the 8th inning? Because David Robertson shouldn't be the answer in the 8th inning. Absolutely not. Matt Strahm better not be the answer in the 8th inning. So I'm okay with what's going on with the pitching. I'm not. Oh yeah. I'm a fan, but I can see what really is happening in these games, Matty. It's weird that people go out of their way to give credit to Hurts when not deserved. Well, they have to, because they feel like it's sort of, I don't know. I don't know what the damn Jalen Hurts delusional syndrome is. I don't know what it is. Oh my God, how come you won't be here? Well, I'll let you know here in a second. The Phillies have a good chance, even the Dodgers don't look the same, and the Brewers are always choking the playoffs and those results. Yeah, he was hurt, but he's back with them. I wonder if Nola pitched in the inter-squad game today. I thought that was tomorrow. But yeah, he probably pitched because he's not going to use him in the first round. So, Barbara, to answer your question, I got to leave town tomorrow. I got a business trip to do. I'll be gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, coming home Tuesday. So by the time I get home, it'll be Tuesday evening. I'm not going to go on the air. And I won't be on the air Tuesday. Wednesday, I got post game. I got game 3 for the Titans final. So I won't do a show Tuesday or Wednesday. So Thursday will probably be the show that I do. And I might not even do that because of the Eagles-Giants game next Thursday. So it could be a hot minute before the final word comes back. But I'm sorry, I have to leave. I can't. I got to go. But it's going to be fun. It's a fun business trip. college baseball down south this summer or this coming spring. So I should have a blast down there. But never fear, we will be here though. The rest of the network will be operating in as normal, as all the other shows will go off. Inter squad game is, I thought it was tomorrow. But yeah, so let's finish up tonight's show. Let's go out with a bang on our final segment of the night. All right, this is the card review segment of the final word. It's the time of the show that we talk about sports cards. It's one of my favorite hobbies, and we talk about my own sports cards. Maybe we'll open it up later on and have you guys send me cards, and I'll review them for you on the air. That'd be pretty fun. But this card is actually came to me this weekend. I told you guys a story that my wife went out and purchased me the entire Series 1, Series 2 complete set of Topps 2025 over the weekend, and I spent 3 hours going through 700 some odd baseball cards. Great fun. Exactly what I want to do on a Saturday night. But in the complete set, don't forget, Topps, it's so vast anymore that you need a book to keep track of it. We know that Topps is a Series 1, a Series 2, a Chrome, a Heritage, a Chrome and a Chrome Update series, and a Holiday series. That is standard series cards throughout every year. But they also throw in other things. They do other promotional series, and that changes from season to season. And when they sell these cards as a complete set, Series 1 and Series 2 were completed and sold that way. They add in 5 specialty cards, part of the complete set. You know what I mean? Like, Series 1 cards, Series 2. You had 5 special cards inside of that complete set that were specific to those complete sets, nowhere else. You couldn't find them in Series 1. You couldn't find them in Series 2. You could only find them in the complete set. And we're going to go over one of those cards tonight from a fan favorite of mine that's growing. And I'm telling you, we've done his rookie cards already on this show. We've done a few of his cards already on the show. And this is another one that I think is really cool. He's definitely going to be part of the future of baseball, and he's definitely part of the future resurgence of the Washington Nationals, as silly as that might sound. But I truly believe that he is going to be pivotal in that resurgence. And it's none other than James Wood. And this is his 2025 Topps complete set card. Okay. It's the same card number 181 that he has from Series 1, Series 2. But obviously, this is not his Series 1 or Series 2 card. This is his complete set card. It's a rookie card. It's got the rookie shield. And it's got this picture of him. Looks like he's leaning up against the side of the dugout or something like that. Again, with the Topps 2025 style of Series 1, Series 2 with the border and the way it's kind of done up there. But this is a specific card for the complete set. There's another card. There's 4 more cards that we will go through it sometime as we run through this that showed up in the complete set. And this is one of them. And currently this card, anywhere out there between $5 and $15 right now. It's a very cool card. I noticed it right away when I was going through these. I pulled it off to the side right away. And James Wood, a very exciting young player. Of course, part of that haul in which the Nationals got back for Juan Soto so many years ago. And again, this card is worth anywhere between $5 and $15 as is. This is a card that falls into the category of putting it away and forgetting about it and see where this kid's career will take him. A pretty cool card indeed. And here you go. Here it is in its physical form. Again, got the rookie shield there in the back. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it up there, but over there where it says 181, it says the complete set, the designated of what set it's from. So the James Woods 2025 Topps complete set card number 181 is your card review of the night. A very cool concept to add in specialty cards, and the way Topps throws out these sets, you can't keep track of them anymore. But That's a cool card. It's a very cool card. And there you have it. Your card review of the night. Another James Wood card. Okay, and I'll keep looking for you online. No problem. No, again, I will be back Thursday night around 5 for the Birds Blast, but that'll be from my hotel. But I can't do any late night stuff because there's some things that are going to be happening later in the week that are going to keep me out, and I'm not going to feel like doing a show after coming home. So, yeah, this is it. This is the last final word of the week, and last final word for a while. And our birthday is next week. The network will be 1 year old on October 7th. I think I might even miss that. There's a good chance that you won't see me. Listen, I tell you what. If I can get home at a decent hour on Tuesday, we'll try to celebrate the birthday. So we'll see. We'll keep it open. But all right. Well, there you go, folks. That's it. Another final word completed. The final of the week. I'll see you at some point next week. I'll see you on Thursday for the Birds Blast, and then we won't see each other for a little bit. I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in, being part of what we do here. We're coming up on a year of our life, and it's been an amazing ride from where we came from and how it all started up to this point. We'll talk more about that again next week when we celebrate our. If I don't come on the air on our first birthday, the first show I do right after that, we'll of course discuss the origins of the It's a Wrap Sports Network and all those great things. So make sure you're tuning in to all the other great things that are happening. We will talk again soon. Go Phillies, go Birds, and let's go Flyers as we're back. Seems like we're back in force. The only thing missing is the Sixers, and they can kind of stay away. But we'll talk next week, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.